San Diego, California is well known for its naval aviation history. Everywhere you look in the Bay of San Diego, you can find aircraft carriers and destroyers. There are a lot of them here, but perhaps the most famous among them is the USS Midway. Construction on this impressive 296-meter-long ship began in October of 1943. She was launched in March of 1945, and although she didn't take part in the battle after which she was named, she did participate in several important battles during the war, and has become arguably one of the most famous carriers in the entire US Navy. After she was decommissioned in April of 1992, it was decided that she would be preserved as a museum, and now she hosts over 1 million visitors annually. And in 2025, we would be included in that tally. So without further ado, let's climb aboard and check this vessel out. We're going to start out here on the main decks. This ship is enormous, and there is a lot to see here. There are a few planes to check out here on the main deck, but most of those are on the flight deck, which we're going to be checking out later. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on every single aircraft you can find on this ship because there's quite a lot of them, and to do that would take several hours, but I will highlight certain significant ones, such as this F-4U Corsair, which is one of the more famous American fighters during the end of World War II. Upon entering the ship, you'll be offered some of these devices. Now these are pretty cool because if you scan the QR codes next to some of the aircraft with it, you'll be able to listen in on some very entertaining stories told by those who flew each aircraft. There's quite a lot of other stuff to see besides aircraft on the main deck of the ship, such as this scale model of what I would assume to be the USS Midway itself. This aircraft elevator has been turned into an outdoor seating area, whereupon you can eat the meal you've purchased from the onboard cafeteria. From out here, you can get an excellent look at the unconditional surrender statue, depicting a famous photograph taken at the end of World War II. Now it's time to head up and explore the flight deck, where, among other things, most of the aircraft displayed in this museum are located. Now I should also mention that tours of the island of the aircraft carrier, that's this bit, are available, although they do cost an upcharge, which we didn't go for on this occasion. Besides the aircraft themselves, there's a lot of different things to learn about on the flight deck of this carrier, such as the different staff that you can find on a carrier and what their jobs are. Whilst exploring the flight deck, we also got the opportunity to see a Coast Guard helicopter making the rounds. Now, unfortunately, the government shutdown from October was still in effect, so we were unable to see any fighter jets here in San Diego, which was unfortunate. So this and the countless MV-22 Ospreys we saw flying around at our campsite were the best we were able to do. As mentioned before, most of the aircraft that are on display in this museum can be found out here on the flight deck, not least of which is of course the infamous F-14 Tomcat. Made famous by the movie Top Gun, it was a surreal experience to be able to see one of these infamous fighter jets on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. They even have out here a simulated cockpit of Maverick and Goose's Tomcat, which is a really cool touch. One aircraft that the USS Midway has a very storied history with is this one, the F-4 Phantom II. In the Vietnam War in 1965, the USS Midway would earn the distinction of launching the F-4 Phantom IIs that would go on to claim the first aerial victories of the entire war. When it was built, the USS Midway was designed to be able to hold an air wing of up to 130 different aircraft, although during operations, typically the carrier only housed about 100. The flight deck is really impressive and was probably my favorite part of this entire museum. Down at the end of the flight deck, there's quite a lot of information to read about concerning the history of naval aviation in San Diego. And you can also get some killer views of Navy Pier from up here as well. Besides the planes on this ship, there's also quite a few helicopters, such as this HH-46 Sea Knight, which you can actually go inside and have a look at the interior and the cockpit, which is very cool. Moving on now to the below decks. Now, it should be mentioned really quickly that if you are disabled like I am, some of the hallways down in the below decks can be really narrow, so it can be hard to put a wheelchair down there, so do keep that in mind. The parts that are accessible, however, are very cool and really fun to explore. The cafeteria, for instance, is really nice. Despite the vastness of this part of the ship, it's actually not that hard to get lost down here because they have these virtual video tours all around the ship to help guide you, which is a really cool feature. Something else really cool that helps add to the immersion is the countless statues that you can find of workers being depicted doing their jobs around the ship. It's really cool and adds to the experience a lot. On the way back to our campsite after visiting the museum, we passed by Kansas City Barbecue, which is famous for being the original filming location of the bar scene from the original Top Gun in 1986. Overall, this was a really cool museum. This was one of the most anticipated things that we would end up doing during our trip, and it definitely did not disappoint. It was a lot of fun, and I can highly recommend it. That'll be the end of yet another video. We're getting kinda close to the end now, but we still have a few more to go. We have a couple more military aviation videos coming your way soon, so stay tuned for those. I'll see you guys in the next one.